Hello, this is Bob Gray Sr. Welcome to Ministry Moments every Friday, 4 o'clock Eastern Time. I'm in Jacksonville, Florida now. My dear wife went to heaven on December 29th, 6:30. I held her, she breathed her last breath, and I miss my dear bride. I miss her. And we, in 2017, were talking about coming to Florida, and then she fell and broke both her legs at the same time, if you can imagine. COVID hit later on, and she was in the hospital, had surgery, and they wouldn't even let me back in the hospital, but I miss her. But I'm here, we're with Dr. Greg Neal and Emmanuel Baptist Church. And of course, Berean Publications, they publish my books. I've gotten 36 books that I've written. We're working on 3 right now. So I'm here, land of the free. And every Friday at 4 o'clock Eastern Time, I'm going to come to you and try to help. I start my 52nd year of ministry in April. At the taping of this Ministry Moments, it's March. And in April, I'll start my 52nd year. So what I try to do is to take the things that I use to try to help pastors and Sunday school teachers and bus captains and bus director, youth workers, whatever it might be, to try to help with ministry moments. That's why it's called that. Very practical. It's not a sermon. I'm not going to preach every Friday. I'm just going to point 1, point 2, point 3. It's like that fat woman underneath that barbed wire fence. A few more points and we'll be through. Well, that'll get me in trouble for sure. But today, let me talk to you about the word pace. Pacing yourself. Pace. This is not a 100-yard dash. This is a marathon. It's a decathlon. A lot of things go into it, but it's a matter of finishing strong and finishing. So I want to talk to you about pace, pacing yourself. And if you learn to pace yourself, you'll be able to be in it for the long haul. I got saved at age 11. As of taping of this, I'm 78. So that's 67 years of being saved. 58 years of marriage with my dear wife, and now 52 years of ministry. I should have learned something by now. So hopefully I'll be able to help you in this area of pace or pacing yourself. Number 1, do not sacrifice the future for the present. Jeremiah said, "Why trimmest thy way for love?" We all want to be loved. But don't trim what you do. Don't get outside of the boundaries of the Bible. Stay inside the boundaries of the Bible. Don't sacrifice the future for the present. All the young people, boy, they love this worship team music and so on. And get some blue lights on the platform and colored lights and get a worship. Don't call them a worship team now because somebody may preach against you, but make it like a worship team. And then use all of these worship team songs and music and so on and choruses and so on. Give me the old-time hymns. Just give me those. Give me something the Holy Spirit can use and speak to hearts and convict people about. So do not sacrifice. Talk about pacing yourself now. Do not sacrifice the future upon the present. Number 2, keep the orchard healthy. Keep the orchard healthy. If you'll keep the orchard healthy, she will produce fruit. She will. And the ministry, the church, it will produce fruit. But you got to keep the orchard healthy. You can't let the world set your affections on heavenly things. Don't set your affection on the world. Don't be fashioned after the world. Present your body as a living sacrifice. God's not asking you to die for Him. He's asking you to live for Him. And so whatever you do, you learn to pace yourself. Number 1, do not sacrifice the future for the present. Don't do that. I want big growth now. I remember in 73, I think it was 73, a graduate of Hyles Edison College went to St. Louis. And got a famous Anita Bryant. That's what it was. Couldn't think of the name, but I did then. Aren't you proud of me? Anita Bryant to come for a big Sunday. Paid her $5,000 to come and sing on a Sunday morning. Got a civic center, and the building was packed. And she sang. That was his first Sunday. How would you like that? 5,000 your first Sunday. And then the next week he had 30, because Anita Bryant wasn't there. You don't sacrifice the future on the altar of the present. Don't do that. That's a famous Bob Jones Sr. emphasis. Don't do it. What you start out with every Sunday, little by little. The great churches only grew by 1.5 to 2 a Sunday. That's all. So what makes you think that you ought to grow by 1,000 in a year? It just doesn't work that way. Talk about pacing yourself. Do not sacrifice the future for the present. Number 2, keep the orchard healthy. Number 3, spiritual gimmicks may attract people, but will not keep people. Spiritual gimmicks will attract people, but will not keep people. When you come up with a spiritual gimmick to get people, you won't be able to keep people. You need to just, how about Sunday school at 9:45 or 10, whenever? How about preaching Sunday morning? How about preaching Sunday night? And when the New Year's comes around, don't cancel Sunday night. The Super Bowl comes around, and the Cowboys happen to be in it. That'll be a miracle, but don't cancel it. These holidays, July 4th weekend, Memorial weekend, Labor Day weekend, football, basketball, whatever it might be, don't cancel church. Don't change the time. Well, 7 o'clock. Well, change it to 6, or change it to 5, or change it to 4. I know one churches that went from 7 to 4 in the afternoon. That's pace yourself. Pace yourself. I remember they came to me and said, we need Sunday night need to be moved from 7 to 6. And I said, no. We had 40 bus routes at that time. How in the world do you expect these people to do all of their work with a bus and then get back by 6 o'clock? There's no way. So keep everything the same, and we did. All right, pace. It's when you start changing things, it builds insecurity. Stability creates security. Pace. Do not sacrifice the future for the present. Number 2, keep the orchard healthy. You may have to preach against sin. You may have to take a stand, but keep the orchard healthy. Number 3, the spiritual gimmicks will attract people, but will not keep people. Number 4, spiritual greed will cause you to sacrifice the present. You focus on the people. Used to come and they'd see our young people and say, "Oh, I like your young people." But then they found out what it takes to produce good young people. They didn't want to do that. They didn't want to sacrifice. You may want the product, but you don't want to do the byproduct. What causes it to be that way? And that's why it's important that you understand spiritual greed. Do not become greedy. Oh, my church is not growing like it ought to grow. Well, why don't you win souls, get somebody down there? I'll baptize somebody every week. That's 52 in a week. Half of them stick. That's 26. That's why it's important that you understand. Be careful about this spiritual greed. This, that's what they accuse us of. All you want's numbers. Well, yeah, I do want numbers, but not and sacrificing the reaching of people. I'm going to sacrifice the soul winning. I'm not going to sacrifice that at all. Or baptizing every week. Not going to do that. Number 5, little by little is God's plan. That's what he told them going to take in the promised land. You're going to do it little by little. And so little by little is God's plan. So win somebody, get them down now, get them baptized. Do it again the next week, the next week, the next week. It'll be little by little. Number 6, pace yourself so you will find yourself paceable. You want to pace yourself so that you become paceable. If you don't pace yourself, you're gonna be exhausted. You've got to pace yourself. There's 168 hours in the week, and you ought to schedule events, not time, but schedule events, and make it a lifelong thing. I'm going to go soul winning every week till the day I die. I'm going to tell people I'll be saved every week till the day I die. We had Sunday school campaign. We had a fall Sunday school campaign. We had a teen convention every summer. We had soul winning clinic every year. Those things were planned, but I planned for a lifetime. It wasn't something I was going to do. And I like annual. I do. I like annual soul winning clinic. I like annual teen convention. I like annual fall campaign, annual spring campaign. I like all of that. At Christmas, we would teach Christmas lessons every Sunday during Christmas. We wouldn't wait till Christmas Day. And then we would preach on it, teach on it on Wednesday nights and so about Christmas. It's Jesus' birthday, not your birthday. So little things like that. You pace yourself. I knew every December what we were going to do. I knew every spring what we were going to do. I knew every fall what we were going to do. But it wasn't come to fruition that fall or that Christmas or that spring. No. It's the rest of our life. This is just the way we were going to do it. And we're going to pace ourselves. And be your own competition. Don't try to compete with others. Whatever number you led to Christ last year, win one more. Be your own competition. And when you do that, you'll be able to pace yourself rather than being ridiculous about the goals that you set. Learn to pace yourself. So pace. Do not sacrifice the future for the present. Keep the orchard healthy. It's very important. Keep the orchard healthy. Don't be afraid to preach against sin, stand against sin. Explain what the Bible pattern is and Bible principle is. Next, spiritual gimmicks attract people, but also lose people. Next, spiritual greed will find yourself wanting the product without the byproduct. Next, little by little is God's plan. And then pace yourself, and you'll be able to pace your ministry. You'll become paceable. And do that. This is a lifelong thing. This isn't just something we do this year or this moment. No, it's I'm going to pace myself because I'm going to spend the rest of my life reaching people with the gospel. I hope it helped you. God bless you. Hey, Ministry Moments, every Friday from Florida, 4 o'clock Eastern Time. God bless you. We'll see you next week. Don't forget to go soul winning Saturday now and tell people how to be saved. God bless you.